Joe Robina of American Cane Self-Defense for Cane Masters, and today we're going to look at learning self-defense with and without the cane, and that is one of the hallmarks of the American Cane Self-Defense system. Originally, what we refer to as full-strength ACSD was taught at the headquarters from day one. The way I put that together is you're going to demonstrate whatever you demonstrate for self-defense with the cane has what we refer to as an empty hand translation. And the value of that, if you look at it, is that, hey, yeah, I want to hang around with my cane. The value of any tool has to be, can you have it on you when you need it the most? So the more you hang around with your cane, obviously if you need to use it for self-protection, if you don't have it with you, now what do you do? Other things that can happen is I can drop my cane. We have stories of caners who have left their cane in their car. They parked in such a way that irritated somebody else, and then they were confronted later on in there. Their reaction from their training is to draw on their cane, and guess what? They didn't have their cane. So you got to have the tool for times that you might need it. But ACSD from day one, concerned with tactical self-protection, practical. What if you don't have the cane, and how does it translate over? What it does is broaden your understanding, not just possibility, but how the cane was put together. The first characteristic of the cane is that the same movements that you're doing with the cane and the way that you learn them, you're going to do the exact same movement with the empty hand. It just needs to be pointed out to you. So if you are in the ACSD in the first course, which is the leader level, and you're just doing the cane, all the movements that you do with those power shots, you do Shark Tank drills, all those things that you do already contain, you're already training to have the empty hand. In ACSD, the cane teaches the empty hand and not the other way around. As a matter of fact, if you try to reverse that and you say, well, I want to go ahead and learn the ACSD empty hand and then the cane, we don't even allow for that because it's not going to make sense. And I'll give you some visuals here of what I mean. There's just tremendous value. Sometimes people come in and say, well, you know, I only want to learn the cane because I already have an empty hand system. And that may be very well may be the case, and you don't need anything else. But think about this. Isn't it just, wouldn't it be better if the system that you're learning with the tool is the same as you're doing with the empty hand, so as not to confuse the nerve system, right, and how the application works. So I'll give you an example. ACSD movements very early on, the idea of that first foundational course is to make you effective in the first 2.5 hours of training, to where you can't be walking out on the street with your cane and people randomly come and put their hands on you, because you're a force to be reckoned with. In order to do that, it needs to work with your adrenaline response. Why? Because under duress, that adrenaline response interferes with your coordination and your ability to make quick decisions. So, for instance, if we do something like this where when he moves in, bang, that's your initial move, and maybe you follow it up and you can come in here and go for the clavicle and incapacitate on that side, what does that look like if I do this movement with the cane? Well, empty hand, this is one possibility, hammer fist. The empty hand system is essentially a hammer fist, palm heel, and a clawing system. That's the way it translates. So this movement, this downward movement, when I don't have that cane for something that's coming in here, is going to knock down. Now, this is not just a deflection. This is not just, we're not just trying to connect. It's an actual strike, and where you strike with the empty hand becomes important. Why? With the cane, here's the distinction. You already know it's an impact tool. It seeks bone. That's not the case with the empty hand. I'm looking for anatomical areas and areas where more than one nerve converges. People refer to them as pressure points. And again, it doesn't matter to me whether you're using Western anatomy or the Chinese meridian system. I happen to have taught both of those at the collegiate level. So right in here, I'm looking to when he comes in here, just that area alone, sorry about that, we're good, but that's designed to numb that area. And now there's a checking mechanism that happens here above so that this hand doesn't come back to strike me. Now I'm ready to go ahead and step in here if I need to, either with the same hammer fist or a palm heel. The advantage of the palm heel is you can rake, you can go to the eyes, but don't miss this. I'm not striking anywhere with the empty hand. There I struck down the limb. Why? Because it tires out that limb, it may make it heavier, and if he goes to attack again, you got to take into consideration this guy's jacked up on adrenaline as well. But the first opportunity I get, I'm always going to go to areas that are closest to the brain. I don't have with my empty hand the advantage that I have for reach, that I have with the tool, so I really have to make it count. Now, every aspect of this cane transfers over to the empty hand. Look at the claw, see? See how the horn and crook, you have this here that can go ahead. So if you look, if I get something that's coming here, when I move in, that becomes the horn and crook. I go to areas to strike that are going to be closest, so this affects now the breathing. And we know the autonomics of this, the way the body responds when it gets cracked in a particular, see, yeah, look at his hands. I didn't have to tell him to do that. Why did he do this? Because that's the way the nerve system functions. That's the way the nerve fits. So these jabs that we learn them in a curriculum for American cane boxing, an ACSD curriculum, for instance, where you're going from here, something's right, boom, and you lash out with that initial move, right, where you're getting out of the way, bang, and lashing out. I don't have that kind of reach now without the cane. So the cane, this initial move that looks like a jab, in essence, that's what it is. Well, if he's coming in here again, I'm going to reach out now with a very relaxed hand. One of those fingers, I'm going to the eyes. And what it is this is what you're training, right? It's an eye flick. And so that eye flick, if you're training this on a pad or even on the hand, what I'm looking to do, you wouldn't be looking to strike at the center, right? He's not a cyclops. He just has an eye in the center. So you're looking out here, that's where you're going to relax that hand, flick as you move out to the side. Now, you get a dust particle, you get an eyelash, it drives you crazy. So imagine now, right, you're coming out here and now you're doing this. And you don't have to be super accurate, it's not going to damage your hand. That's important. The horn and the crook, see, hammering. It's a way of striking. We say you hit with the horn, this portion. You hook with the crook, right? But you hit with the horn. What does that look like? So an application up close, where somebody's going to hurt, they're outside of my, my reach, but I break through this, I partition, take the back of the head, and now strike here, for instance. How did I do that? So this is something you can practice without a partner. So you're over here, you came up, hey, I don't want any trouble, here it comes. You did this, you partition, you take the back of the head, and now you strike. Well, you partition, you take the back of the head, I'll show you that. You're going to partition. Now you take the back of the head and you're either going to strike or you're going to strike with the elbow. Where am I striking? To the nose. You can't just say to the face. The face is too, it's too broad. It's not specific enough. So you're striking to the nose, which is going to water the eyes, possibly a bloody nose. And we know what happened there. What are we looking for? We're looking to get out. We're looking to incapacitate so that we can get out. I'll show you another one here now against the very common, I guess, roundhouse punch. Is that, yeah. So roundhouse punch means something's coming out here. You have the tool you have the cane, and you come in here and you strike, you take the back of the head, right, for the strike. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and release the grip on my cane. And the reason that I'm gonna do that is because when I do that, he comes in here, bang, bang, we're trained to come down. I can now go to the groin, and I'm already to the inside, so I'm gonna bash from here to here, right? So there's several components. It's to the inside. I couldn't get out. I already struck them. Did you see the strike coming in from here to here? Struck, knocked that down, and now I'm coming in and pop, right? Well, when I don't have that cane, I still have to be able to knock this down. And now this is going to happen one of two ways. Either I'm going to knee to the groin, see, because it's wide open, and now his head is down, and I'm going to strike. That's what you did when you went 1-2. You hooked here and you struck. That's what you did with the cane. It's going to come from here to here, here, and then come in. That's one way to do it. And the other way to do it is to come in here, you struck, and that hand, see, off of here, comes in to strike the groin. You're not going to strike. Everybody say groin pull. Say it. That's the way you start ingraining it. It simulates here. Here's the groin. You're going to squeeze and separate from the body, and then all this is open to you. Now, I know every boy just watching this is going, wow, that is brutal. But you're going to be a lot more accurate, right, with something like that, or the knee. But you see the autonomics, how his head comes forward, and now you're striking. Now you're coming here. Now, how do you practice something like that? I want you to look at the movements, right? So, pop, pop, bang, pop, pop, bang. They're not movements that are very distinctive, or, you know, for this one you're doing this with the cane, and then for this one you're going here, and then maybe coming to the outside and striking again, or you're coming here and you're kicking, or you're blocking and punching. It's not that. If you're doing this movement, when you do an empty hand, you're doing the same movements. So it makes it easier for your brain, the nervous system, your neuromuscular system to learn everything. So in one set of applications that you're doing with the cane, it's already covering your empty hand. That's effective, that's efficient, enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to learn it that way. It requires training, but now you know, and you know what to look for. I'm Joe Robina for American Cane Self-Defense and Cane Masters. Thanks for watching. Keep caning and stay safe.